What if the things that brought you joy was also the things that brought you pain? African American historical fiction has always been a journey for me, a way to explore my ancestors' history. As I explore these stories, I find myself happy and joyous at times, other times when I'm deeply frustrated. They make me think about how the past continues to have an effect on our futures, and how do we move forward with the weight that history has had on us. How do we move forward and make things better? My name is Raquel. Welcome and welcome back. So, this is about the two books, The Yellow Wife by Sedeqa Johnson, and the other one is Skin and Bones by Renee Watson. Yellow Wife is about a young lady whose name is Phoebe. She's about 17 years old. Unfortunately, I don't know where they are, but I do believe they're in the late 1800s. And she lives on a plantation with her mom and, everybody else that's on the plantation. At one point in the story, she makes the lady mistress, is what they call her, of the plantation upset. Excuse me. She makes the mistress of the plantation upset, and she is sent to prison. Now, just to cut off from that for a second, I find it strange that they have a prison. And the reason why I find it strange is because they are treated so horribly. I'm wondering, what could you possibly need a prison for? Like, the things that they did is so horrible. I don't get what they need a prison for. Back to the story. So she goes to a prison. And so all of Phoebe's life, she has had special privileges. She's been treated fairly well. She has not had to do a lot of the things that some of the other enslaved people have had to do. One of the reasons why is because her mother is the medicine woman or the doctor, basically, of the plantation. She has kind of her own space, and she has a certain type of relationship with the owner of the plantation, if you will. And so, with her having that type of relationship with him, she is able to make requests and different things like that so that her daughter is not affected by some of the things that are affecting other people. Just like, for instance, she has never been whipped. So, considering some of her actions, that could be surprising in that particular time. Now, don't misunderstand me. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that she should be. I'm just saying that at that particular time, some of her actions would be something that they would do that for. And she goes to this prison, and she is dressed really nicely. She has long, curly, flowing hair, and she has light skin. So, in my opinion, it seems like that's probably all you need to be considered beautiful at this time. And as I was saying a little bit earlier, how the past is affecting us today is because that is kind of still where we are. As a dark skinned woman, I am treated a certain way at times, and a lot of it is simply because my skin is darker. That is something that has trickled from the past and is still plaguing us here in the future. And it's really a terrible thing. We are making some changes, and things have gotten somewhat better, but it is definitely still an issue. That was just one of the things that bothered me about this story. Now, don't misunderstand. I enjoyed the story. It was a really, really good story. However, with the things that happen in the story, I often find it difficult to say that it was a good story. There is so many horrible things happening in this story. At the same time, there are some good things that are happening. It seems so small that you can almost miss it, but you have them coming together and risking their lives for the people that they love. And that is a major thing because risking your life for somebody else is huge. You have them helping each other out in different ways, in so many different ways that you would miss it because the negative part of it is so huge. But there are some really good things happening in this book. Now, I want to move over to the other story, which is Skin and Bones by Renee Watson. Skin and Bones is such a beautiful book. I feel like this is going to be definitely one of my top five at the end of the year. This book is about three overweight black women who are friends. They have grown up together from little girls and now they are adults and they're professionals. What I love about this story is that it takes you through a lot of different things that black women experience. It takes you through colorism, takes you through our weight, how we are treated by men, that whole patriarchy thing. The thing that I find so great about it, I'm so sorry, I keep trying to tell you about how great the book is, but let me tell you the story. So the story is about the journey of them being overweight and how people treat them in certain spaces, how men are reacting, dating, a workplace, and then there's also some racism tied in. There are so many different things that we experience in this book. The book happens in Portland, Oregon. And I did not know, or maybe I just never thought of it. I don't have any family in Portland. I've never been to Portland, never been to Oregon at all. In my head, Portland is in the north. I don't really think of it as being racist like the way I would probably say think of Georgia, Alabama, especially back in the early 1940s. It just does not cross my mind about Oregon because it's in the north. However, each story she tells in this book, she has a true story of something that happened in the past that relates to the story that she is telling in the future. So, for instance, there is this one story where she is having an issue with her daughter in school. So, one of the women has a daughter, the other two do not. Her daughter goes to school and her daughter's being bullied. Her daughter is being bullied by a little white girl. Well, she's being bullied by little boys as well, but this particular story is about being bullied by a little white girl who is calling her fat, and the teacher not taking the time to let her know what's happening. And you can see the racism in the story. I'm not gonna, just get too much into that story, but you can see the racism in it. There are a bunch of microaggressions in that story. If you're not familiar with microaggressions, it is racism that is not overt. They say and do little things that you may not pay a whole lot of attention to. That is what a microaggression is. They tell you a story about how in Oregon in the 1800s there was no law against black children going to school, but they did not have a school. It costs $2 and some change for each child to go to school. Oregon did not want black children to go to school. They offered to give black parents $2 and some change to keep their children home. Really? $2 and now I know that $2 and some change back in the day might have been a lot of money. but you're going to give me $2 and some change to keep my child home. So the parents decided that they didn't want the $2 and change. What they wanted was, I believe it was $800, and they wanted their rent and bills and all these other things paid, and then for them to build a school, and then for them to pay the teacher's salary. I thought that was genius. It was. They were so racist that they were willing to do it. And they did it for a while, and then they rescinded their funds. But that is just an example of how this book goes along. When they talk about racism, she has a actual history that happened in Portland, which is where they are, of what happened, a historical fact. Truly am enjoying this book. Now, this is the book that made me laugh, made me really, really sad. It was funny, it was happy, it was all of those emotions. I love this book. The thing that I just kind of wanted to say is, as we move on, I said that when you know better, you do better. And so I just wish that, because we do know better, it isn't a historical fiction book. This is contemporary, and they are just giving you some historical facts about Oregon. And these two books, they were great. They did take me through a roller coaster of emotions. I love them both. I hope that you would pick either or both of them up. And I wanted to say, so currently I am reading Men Men That Read by Jasmine Ward. Currently, I'm reading that, so I am going to be doing a review on that soon. I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, see you soon.